Previously on the Frontier Farmer. This area up here that we cleared is now firmly covered in snow. You'll see that I have placed a silo, bit of sorghum in there to top it up, and that's all now safely stored in our silo. As it's January, we're now in the best sell time for potatoes and sugar beet. Start with the potatoes up this end. Artemus, he stopped us and now we're stuck. Selling our remainder of sugar beets. I'm looking to expand our wood processing area and create a sawmill. And here it is, our fantastic new sawmill. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. We are now in February, and despite having a snow thaw previously, it has now snowed once more, so the Frontier homestead is covered in a nice blanket of snow. But that hasn't stopped the chickens, because, I'm pleased to announce, we've had 2 new chicks born. So good news, our 2 oldest chickens which are able to reproduce have now reproduced, and we have 2 chicks that are working their way up through puberty now, and the health is got up to 90%, so that's looking good. But yeah, it's nice that we are actually reproducing some chickens on the homestead, and we're also making some eggs still as well, and that's only going to increase as the younger chicks get older and our latest chicks go through puberty and start making eggs of their own. Fantastic news. Artemus is pacing around the front garden in an attempt to stay warm. Good old boy. And over here we have our sawmill, which we erected previously, and that is still sitting proudly over here and actually has been busy processing some of our wood materials from all of our lumber and timber. And it is still very busy processing away. We've got quite a few wood chips as a byproduct of all the production. Let's have a little inspect and see how we're getting on. So things are looking pretty rosy. I did end up putting some more wood in the sawmill. That's been busy processing, so we're down to 7,000 litres of wood. But we've made some planks long, wood beams and prefab walls. And good news is we're over 1,000 litres of each, so I should be able to spawn some of the pallets. And here we go, we have prefab walls, 1,000 litre pallet. We have, this is long planks, fantastic, another 1,000 litres. We have our standard planks, 1,000 litres once again. And our wood beams, which is yet 1,000 litres. So all these pallets are 1,000 litres or 1,000 pieces. So yeah, we really have to do quite a few different building materials now, which is fantastic. But yeah, our mission today is to keep loading and supplying the sawmill. So we're going to be ferrying some wood from our wood storage yard into the sawmill to keep that processing. But one revelation that's come up, and that revelation is, you will recall that we passed an old sawmill en route to the animal dealer over here when we were gathering our chickens. So this sawmill in the southern eastern part of the Dark Forest, the owner has been in contact as he's got word that we have created a new sawmill on the homestead. And unlike his sawmill, we are able to create quite a vast array of different materials, planks long, wood beams and prefab walls, whereas his sawmill can only create wood planks based on the equipment he has got. So he has agreed to come over and work in this sawmill full time, and that is really going to help the homestead in terms of productivity, creating all of the materials, building materials that we need to increase the size of the homestead and redevelop the dark forest itself. And I think that has got some word around that the dark forest is back up and running as a major forestry area, and that's potentially going to lead to some further development. They may want to source some of the materials that we are going to be creating from the dark forest, so that spells some good times for the dark forest ahead. Right, so as mentioned, we have got to keep our sawmill nice and sourced with wood. So we are going to do logs 3 at a time, because that's probably the best we can pick up with this log fork. So I'm going to get busy. We will load them all up. The sawmill can take 75,000 litres, so that is what we will load it with. And I'm going to do my very best to load it as efficiently as possible. Try not to drop anything. Sometimes I tend to. But there we go. I think we've started off with an okay pick up first of all, he says. Let's see if we can get this nice and neatly. That's not too bad. Right, leave this with me and we'll get a good amount of wood into our sawmill. Okay, so I think I'm on the last set as we're nearly down to 200,000, and we started off with around 275,000 litres in the wood storage yard. So we'll pick up these last 3, and of course the sawmill has been busy working whilst we've been loading, so we've actually loaded a little bit more than 75,000 litres, and each 3 logs is around 5,000 litres or so. So it's been quite efficient really, and it's going to be a bit of a job to keep the sawmill nicely fed, but the idea is that because the building materials are worth more in terms of money, we're probably not going to sell raw wood logs anymore, although if we do need some quick cash, I think that the idea is that we might put a wood selling point in or close to the homestead at some point in the future. The sell point that is down by the distribution centre is what I have in mind for placing here. Aha, so we've got 73,000 litres and it's not letting me load these logs into the sawmill, so we are full. but we will return when that has dipped and we can get that loaded. But that has done a really good job, and we are away with all of the productions for planks, planks long, wood beams and prefab walls. So we will return when that's all processed, but in the meantime we'll park up the Volvo, and we are going to need some form of flatbed to take all of the building materials to the distribution centre and the sell point. So we will look to go there and see what we can find, see what is for sale. But I actually will be dropping off this log fork, and in readiness for loading the pallets onto our flatbed, I will go and get the big bag lifter, which is somewhere over in the yard. Here it is. Been a little while since we used it to load, and I think what we did actually load was the firewood pallets from our firewood production stand. Now we haven't returned that since we had to move it for the sawmill creation and construction, so we'll place that again at some point when we next want some firewood. But our wood storage yard actually does place some pallets of wood. You can output, rather than logs, you can output pallets of logs, and in fact it will be interesting to see that. So let's head up here and see if we can get this deposited. So we can do wood pallets, and then we can do one pallet, and I think that is sort of 10 units. Let's have a little look. Aha, so it's like stacks of wood, 1,000 litres yet again, 800 kilos. So it's not quite a pallet, it is just a stack. But let's get that lifted up and see if we can drop that at the sawmill as well, and see if that will load in. Lash on to that stack of wood. Aha, it is a pallet. I just couldn't see the bottom because it was covered in snow. And oh dear, I think it's actually depositing it back in the wood storage yard. So we only have 500 litres left to go and put in the wood storage yard. So note to self, make sure I pick up the pallet from the other direction. Otherwise it will start depositing it in the wood storage yard. Right, let's drop this off here, or shunt it forward a little bit and drop it off there. But that's actually quite a neat pallet, although there's no cage around it like the firewood pallet. It doesn't look too bad. Let's see if we can load this in yet. No, we can't, because we're on 73,000 litres of wood, and sawmill only takes 75,000 litres. Alright, we will drop the wheel loader around the other side. And of course we've got wood chips out of the sawmill. We'll have to get a bucket and load them into a trailer at some point. But we don't really have any purpose for wood chips other than selling them. And it might be interesting to see if there's some production we can utilise wood chips for. Whether some sort of biomass heating, or just selling them, or something a bit more interesting. Fantastic, so this is busy working away. We'll jump in the truck and head over to the dealership and see what we can find by way of a flatbed trailer. It's going to help us cart all of the building materials over to the distribution centre. Now it is good fun driving around in the snow down the woodland tracks, but it has actually stopped snowing and we're at 10:30. I think the temperature is rising again because it's cloudy and clearing up. So I think I'm expecting the snow to thaw by the afternoon, but we shall see what happens. Right, we're already here, so let's have a look at what there is by way of flatbed trailers. Now I quite like the look of this Fortrit HLS 130-11 because it has the ability to be a grain trailer as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a flatbed variant, so we're going to have to look at something a bit different. And I think this Lizard semi-trailer is coming to the rescue. It can be a grain trailer, and it's got a capacity of 45,000 litres, or a smaller 23,000 litres. Also, conveniently, it can work as a flatbed bale trailer, which is going to be perfect for us to load pallets into. I'm hoping that these edges, these poles here, aren't going to hinder us loading pallets on, but we shall see. And by default it comes in a nice red, which matches our farm wall. However, the truck that's pulling it is yellow, but not to worry. Let's buy that for 26,000. Now here it is. It's not the largest trailer in the world, but it will certainly do for us. Let's see if we can get pulled up. There we go. That's looking pretty good. So if we have a little pop out here, we can see, yes, does seem to match quite well. It's looking like the tyres at the fronter axle are raised up slightly, but that's not going to be too bad for us. Lead it back, and it looks like there's a hitch on the back of this trailer if we were to pull another trailer, which has a dolly, so that's quite convenient. Okay, so let's spin around to the sawmill and get in a good position where we could load some of our pallets onto it. Now we'll have to wait until we've processed a good volume of stuff from the sawmill. Now I think we will loop around and park up here. Right, let's see how much we can create in a few hours. Okay, we've had a good break and returned here at 2:30, so it's been a fair few hours of production. As you can see, we've got 2 pallets of prefab walls. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pallets of the long planks. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 pallets of the normal planks and 3 pallets of the wooden beams. Fantastic. So mission is now to get some of this loaded and over to the sell point. I think we'll start with the bigger materials and obviously the stuff that's on the outer side of the sawmill, so we can then get into the planks. So let's fire up the wheel loader once again. This wheel loader is an absolute godsend on the homestead. We would not be where we are without it. It's a fantastic piece of kit. So we want to probably gather the first prefab wall from here. So let's make sure we get to a good height, and this big bag lifter on the front of the wheel loader is again a good saving grace. Really does make the lifting much easier. So let's just get into a good position, strap up. Hopefully we've only got the 1 pallet. Yep, we do. Fantastic. Let's push the other one out of the way slightly and start our little swivel round, get this loaded up. And I'm thinking we might have 1 trailer load to load the bulkier prefab walls and wooden beams, and then we might have another load to do the smaller planks and planks long. Okay, so I think that's lined up. We'll drop that there. It's probably going to be 1 pallet of prefab walls per section of the trailer, as it's quite a bulky good. Yep, that's not a bad thing, because those prefab walls are worth good money, hopefully. Right, I'm going to crack on getting this loading. We'll probably do a few trips to the sell point, and I'll see you when we've made some good progress. Second load being dropped off, and I gotta say, I think this is working pretty well, and we made a good amount of cash from these sales. In fact, I think I'll take a little inspect of the sell page and see how much we've made. So we've made $61,178 from all of those wood goods that we sold. And of course that is more than what we would have got for selling the raw material wood directly. We have enhanced that and turned it into something much more valuable. And the plan is, those building materials we are going to sell for money, and that is going to be used to improve the homestead and the dark forest for the future. Fantastic. And this new trailer has done a sterling job. I think this is going to be quite versatile because it can be a flatbed and also a grain trailer. Let's find somewhere suitable to park it up. I think here will do for now. Fantastic. And the wheel loader, we'll get that parked up as well. And I'm thinking, because we've now got quite a large wood management and sawmill yard, we probably need some more sheds to house our wood orientated vehicles, the skidder, the wheel loader, the truck and the trailers. And of course we've got a few other bits over in the other yard, like the skid steer with the cutter on the front, and a few other bits like the winch and so forth. So yeah, I think we will look to develop this space in the future. Now, speaking of the future, we may look to turn field 2, once we've harvested the barley from it, into more of a production area like this sawmill and wood storage yard area. And we are going to be looking to potentially expand field number 3 into this grass stretch here, which we haven't placed any productions on. Now, I can either extend field 3 or look to create a separate field in this green space over here. Let me know your thoughts on what would be best. And of course, our silage that is in this bunker would have fermented by now. Yep, it's 100% fermented. So that is fantastic. Now, I'm not going to sell that silage because I'm thinking at some point in the future as well, we would like to make some cows. And in terms of that, I am thinking that we will get some cows. And once we've harvested the wheat that is in field number 1, we'll probably turn this area into more of a animal farm. So I'm thinking some sheeps, some cows, hell, maybe even some horses. We will see. But again, let me know your thoughts on all of that. Now, the light really does fade in the winter, but luckily the snow has thawed and near the end of February. So I look forward to March. And speaking of March, we've got quite a way off yet before we're going to be harvesting any of our wheat, barley or canola. So we are probably going to turn our attention into creating another field on the other side of the space near the sawmill. So yeah, let me know whether we want to extend field 3 or create a new field entirely. And at some point we are going to need to get a new tractor for the homestead, because the farm, although it's done a fantastic job, yeah, we could do with some more horsepower in the tractor department. But that is it for today. Hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. If you've got any tips, tricks or things you'd like me to do, then feel free to leave a comment. But all there's left to say is, hope to see you again next time on The Frontier Farmer. And until then, I will catch you later. Cheers all, and bye bye.